fire restrictions. Bummer. I was hoping to have a fire. Hi, I'm Jim Lowe, and welcome to High Country Chronicles Knives and Gear. Today is September 1st, 2023, and I'm taking advantage of the long Labor Day weekend to hike into Virginia Lake. This is a trip that I've long wanted to do. Virginia is known as the place where the state record golden trout was caught. I think it was in something like 1952. Unfortunately, the lake is probably predominantly hybrid goldens. So I don't think I'll be getting any pure goldens out of the lake, but hopefully those hybrids will be decent size. The trail takes me past Arrowhead, Skelton, and Barney Lakes, up Duck Pass, over to Duck Lake, and then it meanders down into the Fish Creek area where you've got Purple Lake and Virginia Lakes and some others. Most of the lakes in that area have golden trout. Now, doing something or I've done something I don't normally do, and that's I'm eating. I slept at the mobile station last night, got up, got an egg breakfast there, and had this orange in the car, and instead of leaving it there, I'm gonna eat it. Now, I've been told this is a really tough hike. It's only about 9 miles, but it goes to it has about 3,500 feet of climbing. Most of that's in the first 3.5 miles, so we'll see. I'm hoping it takes me about 6 hours to complete. The conditions are cold and windy. It's colder than normal, probably 20 degrees colder than normal. It's about mid-40s right now. We're supposed to get wind gusts up into the 50s. So, should be an interesting next couple days. The trail is switchbacking its way up to Arrow and Skelton Lakes. The going's not so bad so far. Not quite sure what I'm feeling. I'm tired just because I didn't sleep, but I don't know, just kind of feeling, I don't know. My pack doesn't feel heavy. That's a good thing. The route doesn't feel hard yet, so that's a good thing. Arrowhead Lake to the left. Now, it's called Arrowhead because it looks like an arrowhead. And it's got good fishing for brook trout. I fished all the lakes on this trail up to Duck Pass, and I'll leave a link up in the corner to the chronicle that gives the details. Now, I've been told that this is a really tough hike. I've been told by multiple people that you shouldn't attempt it in one day. But, you know, looking at the map, it doesn't look all that bad. I mean, sure, you got about 3,500 feet of climbing in the first 3.5 miles. But after that, you know, it's basically all downhill. So, and it's, you know, so it's just an endurance fest once you get to the top. So to me, I don't know, it doesn't seem, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a tough hike to the pass, but I don't know, we'll see. I mean, maybe there's something out there that I'm not seeing on the map that just makes this extremely difficult. But, you know, from what I'm seeing, it looks like, you know, in terms of Sierra hiking, you know, it's probably in the medium, maybe the medium to high range. We'll see. Up and up and up. But you know, I mean, this part of the trail, again, I'm familiar with it. There's nothing terrible here. You know, it's sort of a rolling ascent. You know, you go up, you level out, you go up, you level out, you hit switchbacks, which essentially is leveling out. So it's a very well-made, well-maintained trail. It's cut off to Emerald Lake, which I have not fished. Here's the creek between Skelton and Arrowhead. Now, I've heard tale of there being, you know, big fish that move up there to spawn. I've never had that experience, but you know, might be worth checking out. Okay, it's about 50 minutes in and I've reached Skelton Lake. Once you get to Skelton Lake, it starts to pitch up again, closer to the far side. So I'm an hour in, taking my first Spring Energy Speed Nut. Again, I take these every hour. So I planned on 6 hours today, so I brought 6. It's a little buggy, not as bad as the Immigrant, obviously, but worse than you would expect for September. I've probably got half a dozen bites already, but I'm refraining from taking out the bug spray, at least for now. It's about an hour and a half in and I am at Barney Lake. There's the pass. I reckon it'll take, I don't know, 2 hours for me to get up and over the pass. And in my experience, Barney fish is the best of the three and it's got the largest fish. I think it's going to take me about 2 hours to get over the pass. As you can see, it's really windy, and hopefully I won't lose my hat. There's the lower section of Barney, and you know, that might be small, but it's just got tons of fish in it. This looks like a better place to cross here. The wind was definitely trying to knock me over as I went over those logs. I presume to be the base of the pass. Wind is still howling. Okay, 1 hour and 45 minutes. Let's mark that, see how long it takes to get over. Okay, I've come to my first snow patch. Looks like it'll be pretty easy to get around. Nearly to the top. Okay, I'm reaching the top of the pass. That's what it looks like on the Barney Lake side, on the Mammoth side. And now, here's the Duck Lake side. So there we go, Duck Lake. Apparently Duck Lake fishes well for decent sized trout. There's pika or pika, I say pika, lake in the distance. Just tweaked my Achilles in some weird fashion, tripping on a rock. I hope that doesn't become a problem. You know, as passes go, you know, this really wasn't too difficult. I would put it in the maybe in the medium category. I mean, it's not as easy as, say, Mosquito Pass, but I would say that, you know, Brown Bear Pass and it's harder. Yeah, so Sierra passes go. So far so good. I wouldn't call this an extremely difficult hike. If you're looking for a relaxing backpacking trip in the Sierra, you know, coming up over Duck Pass to Duck Lake or Pika Lake, it's probably not a bad idea. Pika Lake, I think, probably gets pretty crowded. Everybody that I've talked to so far, and I've talked to about a dozen people, they've all been coming from Pika Lake. But yeah, it's a nice relaxing hike. So it took me about 50 minutes to get up over the pass. Not as difficult as I expected. Wow, Duck's a big lake. You know, I've considered coming up here for a day hike, and that is one large lake. I think you'd have to come up here for a couple days to do it justice. So far, the terrain along the lake has been mostly rolling. It's mostly rolling descent. Okay, so I'm 3 hours in, just over 4.5 miles. I am almost to the far side of Duck Lake. So I'm on the far side of Duck Lake. That looks like some really good fishing water. Definitely gonna have to come out here and do a fast pack trip. So I'm officially leaving Duck Lake. Next destination, I'll meet up with the PCT, the Pacific Crest Trail, and hit Purple Lake. Aha! There's a sign on this far end of the lake that says Hiker Crossing. And at that sign, you turn left, follow the arrows, and it'll take you to a stream crossing. So apparently, you can't camp at the outlet of Duck Lake, nor the outlet of Purple Lake. The great Golden Trout country. Okay, so this is more wooded, and I'm starting to switch back down. The hike back is very definitely going to be tougher than the hike in, that's for sure. Mosquitoes on this side are okay. The wind is keeping them at bay so far. Now, coming through here is definitely a little bit more on the technical side, with lots of short, sharp rocks pointing up and roots. Basically, once you get over Duck Pass, you need to watch your footing. So from that standpoint, you know, I would definitely put it in the medium difficulty category, you know, especially for those that aren't sure of foot. And because of that, you know, once you get over Duck Pass, I would bump it up to the medium hard category, just you know, just because of the footing. Okay, so come to the trail crossing with Purple Lake, Duck Lake, Reds Meadow, and Crater Meadows. In other words, I've hit the PCT. PCT comes in this way, goes that way, heads towards Reds Meadow and Devil's Postpile area, both of which flank Mammoth. Looks like I'm switchbacking up to go over that bluff there. It's almost lunchtime, so when I come to a good spot, gonna sit, have lunch for a while. Maybe the top of that bluff might afford me some decent views and relaxation time. Wow, look at all that. Look at all that resin. I wonder if there's a bunch of fat wood in there. I probably shouldn't be stopping for this, but let's see. And knife today is Vehement Knives K2. Yeah, look at that. That root would be a pretty healthy source of fat wood. That is so cool. And maybe on the way back, maybe I'll harvest that. Well, this is really interesting. Steep, all gravelly. Yeah, basically, I guess between two rock falls. It's kind of cool. Getting pretty close to the top. Seeing lots of chipmunks, no pika yet. Wow, I guess there is no saddle. I guess it's up and along this crest, which should give me a nice place to sit and eat lunch. Yeah, so I've come up on this edge. This is so cool. Got this little ridge here. Oh, look at that. That's got to be a 700-foot drop. You know, and this is something that the topo maps can't tell you, right? I mean, I knew the trail followed a ridge, but there's no way for you to know how beautiful it's going to be when you get there. Okay, so starting to see a lake in the distance. So I imagine that's Purple Lake. And I guess I'll hang out right up here, have lunch. So it's a little breezy, but I think this is a decent spot. So normally I try to go to the supermarket and grab a hoagie, you know, get like a foot-long hoagie and cut it in half, have half of it for lunch on the first day, half of it for lunch on the second day. I wasn't able to do that, so instead what I've done is I've gone to Arby's and I got one of their classic roast beef sandwiches. So I don't know how much of this I'm going to be able to eat, but that's lunch. back on the trail. I typically have pretty short breaks. I don't like to cool down too much because then I've got to warm back up again. So my breaks are usually 10 or 15 minutes. Looking at the map really isn't telling me what lake that is down there. There are a couple smaller lakes that are on the map that should be in that direction, but Purple Lake should be ahead of me, so I'm not quite sure. I'll have to, you know, when I get back and look at Strava will give me a pretty good idea. Speaking of looking at Strava, you know, I'm tracking myself on my watch, and one of the features that my watch has is a storm warning. So if the barometric pressure drops suddenly, it alerts me. So I don't know. I'm guessing we're gonna have some weather coming in. Hopefully I can get to Virginia before it happens. So it's a gradual ascent now. I'm basically going around this bluff on my way to Purple Lake. Okay, starting to descend. It is starting to get warm. It's breezy, but it is starting to heat up. Well, I guess I spoke too soon. Starting to go up again. So the terrain is starting to look interesting. I'm definitely going into a basin. Purple Lake is supposed to be dead ahead, and then somewhere along this ridge there's supposed to be a saddle that I'm climbing up and over to get to Virginia. And I don't know, that's looking a lot steeper than I expected. So maybe on that far ridge line over there's a saddle that I'm not seeing. Well, according to the topo map, that's the saddle I'm going over. So I'm gonna come down here and then backtrack a little bit and then come up that way. Wow. Now, Roger and Logan are already up here, and they wanted to do some exploring. In fact, we all wanted to do some exploring. There are some golden trout lakes above Purple Lake, and you know, basically most of the waters in this area have golden trout. Now I'm wondering if they decided to camp at Purple Lake because, you know, if I were them and I saw that saddle, I'd be like, okay, let's spend the night at Purple Lake so we can explore the lakes above Purple Lake, and then the next day we'll meet Jim at Virginia. That would be my thinking. I wonder if they're thinking the same. Okay, so there's Purple Lake. Purple Lake's supposed to have decent sized fish, smaller than Virginia, but they're supposed to be more pure in terms of the goldens there. And then there are a bunch of lakes up that way, and the Fish and Game Eastern Sierra Guide says that they all contain golden trout. So those were some of the lakes that I've wanted to explore. Not quite sure whether I want to go up and down that every day, but we'll see how it is. I guess what I could do is go down to Fish Creek tomorrow morning, fish Creek in the morning, come back, fish Virginia in the afternoon, and then on Sunday, you know, pack up, come over here, camp here Sunday, explore those lakes up there on Sunday, and you know, then on Monday we hike out. So we'll see what happens. Finally down at Purple Lake. This is interesting. Looks like somebody lost their water bottle, or maybe somebody's trying to make some sun tea. So, Duck Lake, Purple Lake, still no camping areas. John Muir Trail, Pacific Crest Trail, this way, that's the way we're going. Maybe we missed an opportunity here. We'll see. We'll see what the plan is. I was really focused on fishing Virginia and hadn't given much thought to the exploration part of it, except for Fish Creek. But I think, yeah, a better idea would have been to make our first night here so that we could explore here and the other lakes and then go over to Virginia. But I mean, who knows? I mean, Virginia might be fishing excellent. The fishing here might suck. Virginia is the main destination, so you kind of really have to give it its due. But I really would like to see Fish Creek. That'll be cool too. So here's Purple Lake. And I imagine that Roger and Logan decided to explore up there today. So if that is indeed the case, I'll be eager to find out, you know, how the fishing was. I know there are golden trout up there. It's just a matter of, you know, are they big? Are you fishing for numbers, or are you fishing for size? Are you prospecting, or are you sight fishing? So we'll see. Sight fishing is always my preference, and it seems like Virginia is the kind of place that you can sight fish for big fish. So that's kind of my focus, but we'll see how things pan out. We're gonna be here for 4 days, so we could always come in here on Sunday if we needed to. You know, Sunday afternoon or something, fish this lake, maybe a couple hours Monday morning, fish the other lakes, and then head out. You know, lots of possibilities. So I think I forgot to mention, almost exactly 5 hours to get in here. Coming to a 3-way trail split. Virginia Lake, PCT on the left. Fish Creek, Cascade Valley on the right. So, climbing out of the Purple Lake Basin. Pretty gradual so far. There's a lot of dead standing wood here, and this wind is doing a pretty good job of making sure that they crackle and act like they want to come down. Still going. Switchbacks make it fairly comfortable going. Okay, maybe we're starting to transition back into granite. So finally hit the 10,000 feet mark, and starting to feel it now. Still not a bad climb though. Looks like I may be getting close to the top of the saddle. So it looks like that little lake back there isn't on my map. So I'm not sure what that was, but I'm going through a canyon now. I'm still probably a mile from Virginia Lake, so I would say that I somewhat underestimated the effort and distance between the two. I thought it would take about an hour to hike between Purple and Virginia, and I'm guessing now it's probably going to be more like an hour and a half. So, okay, starting to skirt this ridge line. Okay, this looks like it's the top. So I gotta imagine it's downhill from here to Virginia Lake. And there it is. I can barely see it through the trees, but it is definitely windswept. Oh man, look at those white caps. Oh man. Something hinky's going on with my camera. The batteries are getting down to about 40% and then just dying and cutting off, so not quite sure what's going on there. Fortunately, I've got plenty of batteries, and hopefully it won't be an issue. So there's Virginia Lake, and it is definitely raging. Look at those white caps. So I'm at the lake proper. Cinto put it at about 6 hours 10 minutes, just over 9.5 miles with 3,600 feet of climbing. So it's about what I expected. So I'm glad my estimate went down. I'm gonna head down to the bank, walk the bank, see if I can find Roger and Lowe, or see if they can, find me. I've turned my radio on. Hopefully they decided they were gonna explore in the morning and then be here in the afternoon so we could all find each other. But we'll see. We said we were gonna camp on the west side, so I'm gonna mosey on over to the west side and see if I can find a campsite. I'm also gonna eat because I could be walking around this lake for an hour. So even though I'm here and most of the work is done, I'm gonna eat. The wind is absolutely ripping. The wind chill has brought it down like, 10 degrees. So I put my jacket on. Yeah, I'm just gonna mosey around. Look for tents. I think I should be able to recognize Roger's tent. As long as he hasn't gotten a new one. It should be an REI tent at the, what is it, grayish orange maybe, with 2 doors on the side. And they have the radios on, so here they are. So I figure it's going to be howling for a while, so I made a little lanyard for my for my hat so I can't lose it. This hat has seen better days. Roger and Logan went down to fish. I'm still getting my gear together. I don't think I'm going to be wearing the hat cam today because the camera on top of the hat is just going to catch wind. But I'll do my best to film any fish that I get. So the wind is blowing all this really fine sand all in my tent. So I think before I go and fish, I'm going to try to put together a windbreak. The other guys have done it to theirs, and hopefully that'll keep some of the wind out. So I've come down and I'm fishing between Roger, who's there, and Logan, who's there. crazy, crazy wind. Pretty ridiculous right now. I can barely cast. Now I'm fishing my intermediate line, 5-weight rod. Depending on the wind is really dictating how far I get out. That wasn't so bad. Let's see, look at my fans. Now, I didn't bring my silk leggings this time around. Probably should have, because I'm just out here freezing, just shivering like crazy. I think I'm going back to camp. Maybe the wind will die down in the morning. Wow, I don't know if you can see that, but this sand is getting on everything. It's blowing in through the mesh, and wow, it is everywhere. Well, I hope my my wind blockage is doing some good. That's crazy. Okay, so in an attempt to limit the amount of sand coming in, I've increased the angle of the pitch of the sidewall on my tent. It's going to catch more wind, but hopefully it'll keep more sand out, I hope. We'll see, we'll see. It's staked in pretty well, so I don't think it's going anywhere. But, you know, if 50-mile-an-hour winds, who knows? Okay, it's 5 o'clock, and Roger's still at it. I've decided to pump some water. Nice. So Roger's got a little weed bed here. Doesn't look too bad. This looks like a good spot. Nah, I'm gonna pump some water. Thank you, though. Where is your rod? I don't see it. Is it sticking up? Well, Roger's going to keep moseying around the lake, and I think I'm going to go back to camp. So if I take the time to analyze this for a minute, you know, this probably isn't too different than British loch fishing, and you know what they would do is they put on, they basically put on 3 wet flies on a floating line, and they toss it out, quartering across the wind, and just let the flies drift underneath the surface. So yeah, maybe I'll try that tomorrow. Also tomorrow, if you know, if I put on my waders, that'll help with the wind. And I've got another shirt that I can put on that'll be warmer. So yeah, I think I'll do that tomorrow. Not tonight. I think I will go check out the inlet stream though. Roger's saying there's not too much in there. I don't have my polarized lenses on, so probably won't be able to see much. Well, this looks pretty interesting. It's got these big potholes with these weed beds. Quite a few weed beds. Now, Roger said that they looked over here and they hadn't seen anything. But this looks like it would be worth checking out. And it appears to have some depth to it. The question is it connected enough to the main part of the lake that fish would come in and out of here? it's not, you know, the fish die off. Now, in reality, what I'll probably do tomorrow, I won't fish 3 flies because I don't have very many wet flies with me, and you know, most of the soft tackles I have are bead head. So I'll probably, you know, fish the bead and the dropper on a floating line and see if I can do any good that way. Which is not to say that's not how I normally fish. The difference being that you know, I'll fish it without a retrieve and just let the wind take it. And probably do. I think I've got an Invicta wet fly, and I think I've got a large soft tackle that I can put on the dropper, and so for a while we'll see how that works. Roger is determined, that's for sure. And that's what we're here for, so why not? What else are we gonna do? Geez, what's this all gonna look like tomorrow morning? Geez, and it's getting inside my sleeping bag. That is no good. Didn't really show our camp earlier. I think for the second time ever, I'm eating in my tent again. Both times were this year, so tonight's dinner is going to be salami and cheese. I had some Pop-Tarts at about 4 o'clock, 4:30. No, it's more like 4:40. So I'm not really that hungry. Dropping a lot of weight, and I think most of it's from muscle mass. So I need to take my protein tonight. So I think that's going to be it. Yeah. These were sitting in the house, so I grabbed these. I don't know where they came from. We never eat Cheez-Its. There was a time when I used to backpack with the white ones. I don't remember what flavor that they call that. White cheddar, maybe. But yeah, there haven't been Cheez-Its in our house in 20 years. So not quite sure where it came from, but conveniently packaged, so I grabbed it. So I mentioned I'd talk a little bit more about this knife. Again, this is the Vehement Knives K2. It's very similar to the Kudamisa, which you've seen in my other videos. This is a mid-tech knife that they're putting out. I don't think the first official drop has happened. DLT Trading is like the exclusive Vehement Knives dealer, and they had a bunch at Blade Show, and so I was first in line at Blade Show, so I was able to you know, take my pick of the lot. But I believe there's still an upcoming drop, and if you go to the Vehement Knives page on DLT Trading, you can have them send you an email when the drop's about to happen, and you can pick one up. This is going to make a really nice field knife. I will do a full review on it. You know, most of my Vehements I don't take out too much, simply because they're they're too nice to abuse. I mean, Matt Martin does, you know, he has the best finish in the business, and so I tend to baby those knives a little bit. But this one, I got this one specifically so that I could beat on it a little bit. One of the things that I really appreciate about the work that they do at Vehement Knives is, you know, there's such attention to detail. I mean, even with something like this choil, most you know, most makers would probably just, you know, cut this out, maybe chamfer it a bit, but these are radiused and they're polished,
and so they're super comfortable. Now you may recall the story of the Kurimisa I have that Matt made custom for me. He made it custom for me because I didn't like the upper quillion, and I had been testing it, and it had performed, you know, well above the other knives, except it was uncomfortable to use because of the upper quillion. So he got a hold of me and made me custom without the upper quillion. So these have a slight upper quillion, which you know, if I guess this could be a field knife and a combat knife, and so, you know, you might want this upper quillion in that situation, but it's small enough that it's not really going to bother me too much, I don't think. Again, I'll do a full review and we'll see if it bothers me or not. And of course, shout out to Jenna Martin, Skinbender Leatherworks. This is one of her designs. I don't think she actually made this. I think they farmed this out and had the Vehement logo embossed on it. But this is her design, and it is, you know, one of my favorite sheaths. And of course, it's got a snap on the back, so I can use it with all my beltless pants and shorts. It's just about 7 o'clock, and I'm feeling pretty good. I'm not tired at all. I don't really feel the need to go to sleep right now. So, video time again. This time it is the new Flash movie. It'll be interesting to see just how cold I get tonight. I didn't prepare for really cold weather, and you know, it's looking like it might get down to the 30s. We'll see. I've got a great sleeping bag. I didn't bring any silk long johns this time. I do have my silk shirt, and I've got 2 other wool shirts, as well as the Outdoor Vitals jacket and down jacket, which is now down at my feet, and of course my rain jacket. So I've got enough clothes to keep me warm, but it'll be interesting tonight to see if I feel like I need to you know, change out of this silk and move into something heavier. That typically doesn't happen, but you know, with the wind up, you know, the wind just cuts through everything, and the wind chill is fierce. So we shall see. And as long as the tent holds together tonight, I'm not too worried about the wind. I brought some earplugs, so I'll just stick my earplugs in, and I'll sleep well.